Agora, klub dyskusyjny.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast series called Agora Discussion Club. Today, we are all together in our studio, in our home studio, with Natalia Habrajska and Kuba Piwowarczyk.
Hello.
Wow, what a spontaneous reaction. They are here because we would like to sum up a 2 years project called Agora Discussions Club for Youth. And this project is it was organized together with organizations from Portugal, ENIE, and we will also listen observation, reflection from this project from Jaime Araujo. But today we have this possibility to meet on live with Kuba and Natalia and ask them how this project proceed through 2 years and what was the organization's issues and what was organization's success that you would like to share. But first, I would like to ask you, why did you decide to cooperate with Jaime, and why did you decide to cooperate with Portugal? Because that's really interesting, like Poland and Portugal are two countries from both endings of the Europe. So that's, I think, really interesting for the culture of discussion.
With Jaime, we start cooperation in our first project from our A9 Foundation. We know each other from previous job and cooperations with other organizations, but during this cooperation and this project, we established very trustful partnership altogether, and we also knew that ENIE, Portuguese organization, put emphasis on youth education, youth activities. So this youth policy is also very close to our mission and our vision of our foundation. And 2 years, it's very long time for social projects. And during this time, you can observe so many changes. Social global changes, but also changes of your first vision of the project and the final implemented structure of the project. So during these 2 years, it's very important to have clue and structure, of course, but you have to be flexible. So if you prefer meetings out of the school, you have to think about it and try to provide some places which will be more suitable for them. Or you think firstly for maybe more social topics, but youth is more interesting in maybe AI or sport activities topics or ecology, so that you need to be open for them and provide another types of topics. So that means that not only meetings, real meetings, but also podcast creation. It's something important here. We would like to be more focused on discussion, but it seems you need to provide some variety and various activities as films, as podcasts, as another types and forms, methods, workshops like design thinking, world cafe, mind mapping. So it was intensive.
So, to sum it up, through these 2 years, you were able to organize series of podcasts, series of series of discussion meetings in schools, youth forum for the youngsters, Agora Youth Forum.
So in both countries.
Yes.
In both countries, also transnational meetings with our partners. The cultural exchange. Getting to know the local climate, the local dynamics of youth, the specificity of work. We visited phenomenal regions of Portugal, Alentejo, Algarve. We have had meetings with directors of schools there, with governmental employees from the Ministry of Education. We learned lots of things, lots of information about the specificity of youth work in Portugal, and we had an incredible opportunity to exchange our experience, because we are youth workers from our past, of course, both of us. to exchange our experience with people from, like you said, from another end of Europe. So this was an incredible opportunity of cooperation and the exchange of experience.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any thoughts about how this Portuguese view on how people debate there help you with organization here in Poland? Usually people on south of Europe are more relaxed and more maybe willing to talk, but in Poland we have a different experience with that. So did you have the opportunity to put some relaxed thinking to our Polish discussions?
In my experience, it's not the different, especially when it's talking about youth. I think that the opposite is true. That in Poland, much less topics are actually taboos, and in the southwestern Europe, basically, many more topics are emotionally charged. And many young people don't want to engage in in-depth discussion because they carry let's say an emotional baggage about these topics, and somehow this is hampering the free discussion. And there is an additional challenge of the youth worker to provide a safe space and to provide the insight needed to get people to talk, to get people to exchange free ideas and so on.
Mm-hmm. I have totally different point of view in this
Okay.
field, but maybe more structural, because here in Poland we organized Agora discussion clubs meetings, and after these topics we were recording podcasts. But in Portugal, the main idea was that the youth will provide meetings and podcasts in the same time, but youth organize their audio studio, their topics, their guests. I can observe that Portuguese youngsters are more involved and more open for audio and innovative tools. I think so. But here in Poland, they prefer some structured proposition, suggestion of form of education and sharing their thoughts. I think it's very cultural difference here. And we can observe how innovation and technology is different in Central of Europe and in Portugal in the end of the, let's say, East Europe.
By the
West.
ocean.
West. By the
ocean. The gateway to tropics. I'm still getting
amazed.
I'm still amazed and getting delightful flashbacks from our trips there.
That's cool. That's what actually this project
It's also about.
is also about youth exchange and people who work for youth. They also need to to have this inner energy to work with young people, because I think that's really important, that we need a lot of people who would like to speak with youngsters, who would like to communicate with them and thinking about this language of communication, how nowadays we can approach and talk with youngsters. Before our meeting today, before our English recording, we were talking about that youngsters, maybe they keeping the distance between student and people who are older than them. So I think it's really important with this project to find the ways how we can approach to youngsters, how we can engage them to the culture of discussion. But as we agree, what it's the most important during this project is creating the space, creating the feeling of Agora. And that's what I want to ask you. How do you see what Agora is after this 2 years project?
Mm-hmm. Good question. What Agora is for me after this project, I can observe that Agora is space, time spent together, atmosphere we want to fill in and we want to share, and also some kind of open discussion but feeling freedom together. I know that's maybe more philosophical issue here, we need to feel open, and we need to feel we want to talk with our interlocutor and with others. We want to give some questions and share observations. So there are some conditions which I think must be provided to help people to share their observation in our changing time and in our changing world. So if we want to share our observations, which sometimes are more intimacy than we thought before the meeting, to provide this openness, that means that you have to be open for youth needs and to provide good atmosphere.
One of these, I think, also important knowledge that we can have from this 2 years project is our knowledge or maybe reflection or observation about youth needs, as you said. And this is the question for you, Kuba. Do you think that you gained such observation about youth needs? Today we talking after your school lessons when you had opportunity to show Agora methodology, Agora discussion club in the high school. So after these couple days of being with youngsters, what are their needs?
The main point I have observed from not only Agora but years of youth work is that the main need of youth is peace. Is basically peace. Is having space, having time of silence and freedom from stimuli. Youth nowadays, for me at least, in my observation, are completely overstimulated and are tired just waking, from just getting up from bed. They're already tired. This is something for me that has hampered many things, many initiatives, many tries to get to young people who are sometimes wonderful and who are sometimes very willing to engage in many meaningful discussions, many meaningful conversations, but they just are overstimulated. The operational firepower basically to engage in challenging discussions because they are already tired. And this is something that I think this is the biggest challenge to not only provide the initiative for youth, but also try to teach them how to maybe relax, maybe distance themselves from the modern world, from all the stimuli they are bombarded with. And this is also something that has came up in the recent days, like you said, when I was in school. This is a problem for another maybe initiatives, maybe next projects, maybe next researches, because that seems to be the main problem.
Yeah, I think this is really important observation in this project, but in this situation, it's more important that people like you find their inner strength to talk with youngsters about such issue or trying to engage them to the discussions. Will you develop in the future such project? Are you open to continue Agora discussions club?
We have to have a rest. It was very intensive 2 years. We established 30 meetings.
Yeah, about.
10 podcasts in Poland, in Portugal, and also 2-3 days of youth forum. So and also a book. So a lot. I think podcasts as a form of expression and discussion expression is very interesting because it's still innovative. It's still interesting for youth, for specialists, for various types of target groups. And because of this fact, I think some people are more open and more creative to meet each other and to talk and to record something that they can multiply also. So using these innovative tools and technology, it seems to be more adequate for today's reality. So maybe podcasts and audio forms of dialogues.
I think what's important also when it comes to podcast is that during our recordings, our meeting in studios, creating a special place just for having talk, and that's really unique when it comes to radio stations or podcast recordings. But I think this challenge of creating agoras, it's like lifetime project, I would say. It's good to have you, and it's good that you are ready to develop this idea of Agora discussion clubs. Thank you for the conversation. I'm hoping that you will have good rest and you will return to youngsters, to people from our society, to give them good talk.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. And maybe last question about this, what it's a key for this project. What is for you good conversation? How do you feel after that good conversation?
That's engagement, freedom and engagement. So in the same time, space, and on the same topic, two people or many or more people are meeting each other to talk, to share their selves, and also to give opportunity to start being in dialogic situation. So together we share our ideas, point of view, observations, and we grow together.
Understanding and knowledge, as dialogue is always between people. Because of dialogue, I gain understanding of who the person is that I'm, in a dialogue with, and then I can extrapolate this understanding to gain knowledge, broader knowledge about both the human nature and both the reality I live in.
Thank you for that short summer up about talks and this project. With me together in this house studio, we had Natalia Habrajska and Kuba Piwowarczyk from A9 Foundation, and that was summer up of 2 years project Agora discussion meetings, youth forum, like you said. Thank you, and
thank you, Paulina, for a great job. And thank you,
Yes.
Jaime, for also great job.
Good
Bye.
night and good luck.
bye, and maybe see you somewhere on the discussion clubs.
Yes.
Thank you.
Agora. Klub dyskusyjny.